All right, so season 4 starts on September 14th, so in about like 10 days or some change like that. Anyways, the focus here is going to be the Halloween Cup. So Halloween Cup's from October 26th to Tuesday, November 3rd. So that's a little bit over a week. So this is really interesting because Halloween Cup features only poison, ghost, bug, dark, and fairy type Pokemon. So for those of you that guess Azumarill, guess what? Azu's going to be here since it's not, yeah. So those are the only ones. So it's going to have a CP limit of 1500, so it's going to be in Great League. So Poison, Ghost, Bug, Dark, and Fairy, and it's going to be in Great League, which means it's going to be. I know it looks like it's going to be fun, but let yeah. Let's take a. If you think it's going to be Azu Central, it's going to be pretty Azu centric. Anyways, let's take a look at PvPoke.com. All right, so here's the Halloween Cup, and like I kept saying, do y'all like bunnies? Well, guess what? Who's the number one pick? It's the bunny. Azumarill is really strong in this meta. It's yeah, you might so it's Ice Beam Hydro Pump. That's the number one moveset. However, you might want to consider running Play Rough just because you're going to see a lot of Azumirrors. So because of that, you may not want to use Hydro Pump. It's totally up to you. But in all honesty, I think you would want to consider running Ice Beam. Play Rough is like really, really good for this cup. So over here for overall you like Beedrill. Shadow Beedrill is a very interesting pick if you want to invest in it. Shadow Beedrill actually beats a majority of these picks, and it's the number one lead. For sure, it's the number one lead because it's so dominant against a lot of the, for example, Azumarill and Umbreon. It takes out both of those. It's also great against Venusaur and Toxicroak, two very spammy and also very good picks. Now you might want to watch out a little bit because Golbat, Wormadam Trash, Fortress, etc. Its weaknesses, there's a lot of play for what Shadow Beedrill is weak against. Fortress and Alolan Marowak and Golbat are three things you might want to look out for. However, just like I said about Golbat, Golbat here is an incredibly powerful pick in this cup as well because it takes the 100% as attacker for a reason. You beat Venusaur, you beat Beedrill itself, Toxicroak, Mawile, Alolan Marowak. Again, it beats a lot of relevant things. The only problem is Azumarill. Is that Golbat, because of Ice Beam, Azumarill wrecks Golbat. And it can literally wreck it with like it wrecks it in almost every scenario. As you see here. Actually, here, let's flip this around. As you see, Azumarill is very powerful as long as it has shields. So you win almost all... Unless you're up a shield, and even if you are up a shield, here's what happens. It just takes one Ice Beam to kill you. Well, not one, yeah, it literally just takes one Ice Beam to kill you. Just because Golbat isn't that thick when paired up against Azumarill, and just Azumarill's thicker. So that's a synopsis behind the Flying Cup. Let's just go back here, and then we're going to do these. And then we go back to Flying Halloween Cup. I mean, not Flying Cup, Halloween Cup. Now, that's the overall pick. It's very powerful, very strong. So, this is your BBML. I don't think this is going to be quite your BBML. Things like Umbreon. Umbreon actually has some play. It actually beats Golbat, it beats Beedrill. Beats Golbat and Beedrill, so there's a lot of things in the top 10 that will actually take each other out. Shadow Skuntank is also really interesting because you actually also beat Azumarill. You also beat Azumarill. Basically, you want something that beats Azumarill. If you have nothing that beats Azumarill, Azumarill's number one for a reason. It's just that strong. Now we go on to leads. Haunter's a very strong lead because Haunter, just like in open Great League, is just very powerful. You're gonna break shields and you're either going to break shields or you're just gonna nuke a lot of things with Haunter. That's what makes it really, really strong. Again, Umbreon still has play. Also, all of the Darkmons have a lot of play here, so don't sleep on them. They're still very, very powerful. As far as leads go, you can still lead with even like there's a ton of viable leads, but in all honesty, the one you should look out for most is probably Azumarill. Azumarill in the lead is very, very strong. Like many of you have played Golbat League. You know, Open Great League. It's very strong, very powerful. And as you see, really the only thing that takes it out are the poisons, Venusaur itself, and Haunter. Well, other things take it out too. Basically, anything poison Azumarill dies. So just be very careful and just be very aware that Azumarill is going to be out a lot. As far as leads go, not a lot of people have a Shadow Beedrill or a like Shadow Beedrill, Shadow Scizor. A lot of people are going to have Haunter though. So I just be very aware that Haunter in the lead can actually wreck shop, and it's very, very difficult to beat. Just look, yeah, it's like really hard to beat. So, well, actually, no, yeah, you can pretty much just go. Well, you have to bait with Shadow Punch, but if you don't bait with, yeah, you basically have to bait. So let's see if you do this, go that, and then you do. Wait, what am I doing? Oh yeah, options, and then don't bait with moves. If you don't bait, if you go straight Shadow Ball, you still win. So as you see right here. Yes, it takes a little longer, but in the one shield you could just go straight Shadow Ball. But if you're going to win the twos, you do need a bait. Otherwise, Azu wins. So if Azu calls your bait, you win. So just be really aware of that. Or Azu wins. So you'll lose the 2 shield if you go straight Shadow Ball. So you do need to bait with Shadow Punch. Just be aware of that. But with that being said, Haunter's still really freaking strong. I just be very careful with Haunter. Your safe switches are going to be Alolan Muck. Wait, what? Yep, Alolan Muck. If you got that great Alolan Muck during GoFest, guess what? It's going to help you a lot over here. Alolan Muck's always been a great safe switch for Go Battle League, and it's very strong because, you know, Azumarill. And be kind of careful though, because there are a lot of other things, like for example, Beedrill, Toxicroak, etc. So that a lot of your switches are going to be poison. Azumarill's viable as a switch as well. Just be very careful because a lot of people are going to switch into you. In fact, Azumarill, if you look on the rankings for switches, it actually ranks really low. It ranks rank 68, and it's only because Azumarill there's so many poison typings here that like Azumarill just gets wrecked. And there's a lot of people that have things like Alolan Muck, etc. And so just be like, if you look, this entire switch thing is all poison. Again, if you have one, yeah, it's all poison. So just take a look. You have a lot of viable switches. Just keep in mind that number 2 and 3 are Shadow Golbat. Shadow Golbat's really interesting, but you lose against Azu in the closer, so just be wary of that. But Shadow Golbat and Shadow Stuntank take the cake, and they're very, very powerful. So just be very... In fact, a lot of these things will... In fact, the reason why Alolan Muck is really strong is because you actually beat Umbreon. Because you tank Umbreon. Every other pick will lose against Umbreon. So Shadow Golbat and Shadow Stuntank will actually lose against Umbreon. But that's Muck in a nutshell. Alolan Muck is really good as a safe switch. Very, very powerful as a safe switch. You can even use it in the leads, not so much. But it's still very strong. So just keep in mind that as a switch, it's a great switch. Closers, obviously, it's Azumarill. It's Azumarill. Azumarill is just really powerful. It takes out a majority of things in the no shield, and at the same time, Azumarill is really thick. Y'all already know that Thick Bunny always destroys everything. Well, not destroys everything, but it's one of the strongest mons in Open Great League, and in the Halloween Cup, it seems to take the cake as one of the most powerful picks that you can ask. In fact, I can definitely see a lot of Alolan Muck Azucoras coming around and running rampant, especially, like I said, because of GoFest. There's a lot of trainers that now have really good Alolan Mucks. So the Azu Alolan Muck core is very strong because also, if you look over here, Alolan Muck is a great closer as well, ranking in the top 10 along with Azumarill. So Azumarill and Alolan Muck actually complement each other a lot. Now, as your Chargers, Beedrill's your number 1. And so is Frostless. Frostless has always been one of those really dangerous things in Sylph and can be a monster in Open Great League as long as it has shields. And that's what Frostless does for you over here in this cup as well. You actually beat Azumarill and you'll beat a lot of relevant picks. Of course, Umbreon is going to wreck you just because of the ghost typing. So just be really careful. But Alolan Muck is also one of the greatest chargers in the game. And as far as attackers, of course, Golbat takes the cake. As you saw there. Golbat is really strong in this cup just because flying takes out Beedrill, and its Poison Fang also gives it a chance against Azumarill, but Azumarill wins a lot of scenarios, so just be really careful. If you look over here, if you play Azumarill, you can win, but you have to, I believe you have to have a shield. Okay, so Azumarill wins most except when you're up 2 shields, but you lose it to 2 shields. So just be very careful, because Golbat's a very good attacker. You got Obstagoon, which is actually really good surprise. It's actually kind of surprising. Now, of course, Obstagoon is going to lose against Azumarill, but if you Gunk Shot at Azumarill, it dies. So just you have that option. You have the option to can the poor bunny, as usual. Wormadam Trash is also a great attacker. Ironically, it beats a lot. It's basically just here because of poison. I wouldn't rely. I wouldn't. If you want to use Wormadam Trash, up to you. But it doesn't really do a lot for you, to be honest with you. Don't use Wormadam Trash. And there's a lot of consistent mons here that are available and are able to help you out, and they're really great for this cup. But overall, that's the Halloween Cup. And here's your summary. So it looks like Azumarill is going to be used a lot in this cup. Play Rough Azu might be a thing. Because honestly, the only reason you want Hydro Pump is just so you could take out Marowak. That's really the only reason why you want Hydro Pump. As you see, you'll still beat things like Alola, like you'll still beat things like Shadow. Hold on, let me swap this. You'll still beat things like Shadow. See, Azumarill still beats a majority of Shadow Swampert. I mean Shadow Mawile. And Azumarill will destroy you in the 2-shield because Fire Fang is the #1 pick. So even though you beat a lot of things. So just be really careful about Azumarill because Azumarill has a lot of dominant matchups. Yes, you lose against things like Beedrill, Haunter, etc. But Haunter, you still have a lot of play. Remember what I said before? Another summary is that there are a lot of strong leads here. Haunter, if you have a lot of them, is really, really good in this cup. Just like in Open Great League, it will take your elo pretty fast. So just be wary of Haunter. And be wary of Alolan Muck, because those are two mons that are really high ranked in this cup that have a lot of play. So just keep those in mind and you should be pretty good. Overall, it looks like this cup you won't have to invest. The good thing is, in Halloween Cup, there's not a lot of things you have to invest in. Most of these you already have powered up, or if you play heavily in Sylph, you have all of these powered up. Except the Shadow versions, which are just stupid expensive. You don't need to worry about them anyways. But yeah. There's a lot of play in this Halloween Cup. It's going to look like it'd be a lot of fun. If you want to break from the chaos that is probably, let's see, this October 6th is going to be, let's see, it looks like it's going to be around near the end of Great League or around that thing. So, I mean, the end of Ultra League. So it looks like it's a cup that you can play instead of Ultra League. So I'd really look into this cup. It looks like to be a lot of fun, and it looks like you're going to like it a lot, given that everything in GBL is working anyways. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Hopefully you guys learned something else. If you have any questions, please put in the comments. But again, make sure y'all put your play roughs on your Azus.